At my brother's medal presentation, the guards held me back. "Ma'am, your name isn't listed." I introduced myself, Sophia Reynolds, 34 years old, and caught my little brother Nathan grinning as he whispered to his spouse, "She ought to wed an actual serviceman. All she handles are data tables." Little did they realize that my routine office role had recently pulled a special forces unit out of a deadly trap. They were clueless about the details, since everything was under wraps. But this evening, they're on the verge of learning it all, because I'm not merely attending his honor event. I'm here to claim my own. Have you ever felt overlooked by those closest to you, only for reality to compel them to acknowledge your value? Share below, you're far from isolated. The junior enlisted sailor glanced from his device. "Apologies, ma'am," he replied, tone courteous yet resolute. "You're not cleared for Lieutenant Reynolds." He displayed the display, Robert Reynolds. Elizabeth Reynolds, Amanda Reynolds, that was the full roster. No mention of Sophia, no sibling entry, simply omission. Bold, intentional, and cutting. And precisely then, the sleek dark vehicle arrived. My brother Nathan emerged in his pristine formal attire, shining like the household's prized achiever. He spotted me by the entrance, noticed the sentry barring my path, and he smirked, bent toward his partner and murmured, audible to all nearby, "Likely some clerical error. She should have tied the knot with a genuine military man." I held steady. Yet within, a fragment broke. My mom abruptly fixated on her necklace clasp. My dad frowned, not toward Nathan but toward me. As if I were the source of any disruption, they proceeded beyond me as though I were invisible. Nobody spoke up for me. Nobody paused. I remained there, rigid, posture unyielding, observing my relatives vanish onto the Institute's grounds as if I were merely discarded baggage left curbside. The sentry coughed lightly. "Ma'am, I'll need you to move off to the side." I offered no protest. I simply inclined my head once, and retreated to the shade, not from frailty, but because an inner resolve had hardened, icy, precise, and absolute. Allow them to cling to their misconceptions, for the reality was approaching, and it bore two gleaming stars. My relatives assume I shuffle documents. They envision me in a dull workstation, wrestling with glitches and data grids. What escapes their view is the vault, a stark, enclosed space hidden under strata of Defense Headquarters safeguards. One side is solely illuminated screens, orbital imagery, and thermal traces. My arena. The evening prior to Nathan's event, I occupied that space, overseeing a real-time extraction mission in the Arabian Sea. A dozen non-combatants confined on a seized fuel carrier. An elite assault group seconds from entry. My instructions were steady, precise, commanding. Falcon lead. Pause, incoming activity from the rear, unidentified craft nearing. 5 thermal readings, probable trap, cancel insertion. That directive preserved their survival. And among the operators on that mission, records indicated previous assignment beneath LT. Nathan Reynolds, the twist. As I shielded his squad from a fatal snare, Nathan messaged me. "Enjoying the capital, sis. Don't overdo it with those reports." He was utterly unaware, they all were, since I kept it concealed. Because confidentiality wasn't a weight, it was the duty. I'd embraced that long before. Until that dawned by the entrance, when quietude no longer seemed empowering. It seemed like obliteration. Yet transformation arrived abruptly, 3 days on, in a serene chamber with a vista of the river. Colonel Harris served me a mug of brew, met my gaze directly, and stated, "You preserved a dozen souls. The Commander-in-Chief is aware, and now it's essential that others learn as well." He passed me a dossier. Within lay the unsealed directive for Mission Shadowwave. My triumph, my evidence, my heritage. And then he added with a grin keen as tactics, "Your siblings' event is upcoming soon, correct?" I can still recall the Independence Day when Nathan earned his academy spot. Father hosted a garden cookout as if it were a federal celebration. Former commanders, locals. Layered dessert inscribed with "Well done, aspiring captain" in navy icing. The universe orbited him. That identical period, I received a Federal Innovation Prize for a coding protocol. I presented the award to Father as if it held weight. He barely lifted his periodical. "Nice work, dear," he muttered, then resumed outlining Nathan's prep regimen. That's the moment I grasped within our lineage, solely one form of contribution counted. And mine didn't feature the proper footwear. Thus I ceased seeking visibility, until present. Until that instant at the Naval Institute barriers, when Colonel Harris's official dark limousine appeared. He alighted in complete ceremonial garb. His quartet of stars reflected the light like flames, and he directed his focus at me. "Ah, there she is, Admiral Reynolds," he declared, volume sufficient for the entire barrier to catch. "We nearly dispatched a detail to locate you, Admiral Reynolds." The sentry's expression shifted from bewilderment to alarm in under a second. He'd nearly barred a flag officer. The barrier swung wide as if dreading repercussions. And as Colonel Harris courteously escorted me through, his tone dropped sufficiently for my ears alone. "Shall I address it with them?" I peered at my kin, stilled, gazing, motionless. "No," I responded. My tone was iron. "I suspect they'll deduce it independently." And we strode directly by them, myself in complete regalia, dual silver emblems on each epaulet. Permit them to grapple with the quiet. For once, it was mine to command. They bestowed Nathan's accolade initially. He ascended the platform like royalty reclaiming territory, expressed gratitude to our folks, his superiors, and Amanda. Zero reference to me, not even a look my way. The exclusion was total, until Colonel Harris advanced to the lectern. "We've an impromptu segment," he commenced, timbre deep and resonant. "Due to matters of state protection, this commendation stayed veiled. Until this moment." The assembly stirred, intrigue, perplexity, strain dense enough to sever with a blade, and then he uttered it. "Rear Admiral Sophia Reynolds." Duration halted, inhales, murmurs. And then, akin to an advancing swell, each attired figure in the hall rose. Each. One, save for three. My parents and Nathan remained immobile like effigies molded in incredulity. I stood and proceeded to the platform, without delay. Without regret, Colonel Harris affixed the Meritorious Achievement Award to my tunic and murmured close. "Now, share your account, Admiral," and he proceeded. He recounted to the full venue the tale of Mission Shadowwave, of the non-military lives preserved, the potential conflict averted owing to choices rendered in a frigid, subterranean control hub. He concluded thusly. "Admiral Reynolds' analysis unit thwarted a devastating strike on an American frigate in the Arabian Gulf." I pivoted slightly. Locked gazes with Nathan amid the assembly. He recognized precisely which vessel. His own. And I observed the vitality ebb from his features. He wasn't the sole Reynolds in service. He merely hadn't conceived the sibling he belittled, was the guardian who shielded him. The ovation thundered, yet I tuned it out. What resonated, what counted, was the hush from my relatives. The variety of hush that emerges when one comprehends existence differs from their assumptions. It wasn't retribution. It was validation, and that had always been my deepest desire. 4 months on, I entered my parents' den. Along the distant partition loomed a fresh crystal enclosure, finely wrought oak. Within rested honors, my ancestors' banner. Nathan's citation. Yet at the core, aligned with Sightland, my Meritorious Achievement Award, and adjacent, an image of Colonel Harris attaching it to my attire. "He assembled it weeks ago," my mother murmured gently, placing a tray of treats. "Declared it was due for the Reynolds lineage exhibit to convey the complete narrative." That evening over supper, nobody boasted. Nobody contrasted. Rather, Father paused and inquired, "Sophia, how do you navigate cross-department rivalries at your tier?" "Feels akin to corralling predators." It lacked artifice. It was genuine curiosity. Afterward, upon the weathered veranda seat, Nathan settled next to me. "Forgive me," he uttered, stare anchored to the shadowed skyline. "It wasn't personal against you. I simply craved the spotlight to sense significance." I grinned, not from dominance, but from newfound insight. "I devoted years believing I required this clan's endorsement to define myself," I replied. "Yet the fact, my value isn't a grant from you, it's inherent in me." He inclined his head gradually. "I'm honored to share blood with you." And for the initial occasion, I reciprocated, serenity filling my core. "I'm honored to share it with you." For this transcended mere success. It was emancipation. If you've ever faced disregard, invisibility, or undervaluation, this account belongs to you as well. Place a symbol in the replies if you've ever needed to claim your inherent merit. And follow Echoes of Valor for additional tales of overlooked champions who at last gain voice.